FM Live. Good morning. As usual, my name is Tori, and today I am joined with Lisa. As always, as we get started, the two most important things that we can possibly possess are our ideas and then the time to carry them out. This series is designed to give you the ideas so that you can use them during the time that you have to work. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Tori. There we go.
So today's Discovery Center topic recommendation, we have one video to share with you after the presentation. So as usual, go to fluidmechanics.net, navigate over to the online training Discovery Center, and then you will be searching for Climbing the Ladder to Success. That is going to go very nicely with our topic today. We are going to be talking about finding your pathway to swim in college, to orient ourselves to where that is as far as the cornerstones of performance. This is definitely a synergy topic. It is going to cover pretty much everything that you see here: brain, technique, strength, energy systems, and fuels. The college pipeline is really designed to give you the tools you need to find and then get to the college you are looking for. So Lisa, what do we got?
All right. Well, I get asked a lot what I love about my job. And so I found that this is a good place to start. Because quite honestly, you're going to really want to know a lot about yourself, and knowing what you're passionate about is going to be really important. And so I've been the regional manager for fluid mechanics for the past 5 years. And I absolutely love my job. I'm very passionate about it. But that's kind of my end result. I didn't start knowing what I wanted to do when I was 20 years old. And so, finding your pathway is really important. Okay. And so I'll tell you a little bit of story about how I got to where I am right now. And so, when I was in undergraduate school, I was a biology major. And I had a job offer coming out of college, but I wasn't passionate about that job at all. It would have paid me really pretty well, but I really did not have any desire to do that. And so I ended up, leaving school, didn't have a job, and said, you know what, I really like art. So I went into graduate school with getting a degree in painting and drawing, believe it or not. And while I was in graduate school, I was at the university. I would go over to the pool at lunchtime and I would work out, right? And so I was in there doing a workout one day, and I come at the end of my set, I hit the wall, and I look up, and there's this big guy standing over the top of my lane. And he looks at me and goes, "Why are you not swimming for me?" And I look up at him, and I see he was the coach at the college that I was going to grad school at. And I said, "Because I've been beating you for 4 years." And he laughed because he recognized me. I had gone to a school that was maybe 30 miles away. And, he's like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" I said, "I'm a grad student now." He was like, "Great. Because I need a graduate assistant, a coach for next year for the men's and women's swim team." I said, "Okay, great." He said, "When you're done with your workout, come over and chat with me. Maybe we can work something out." I said, "Okay, great." So I talked with him, and I became the graduate assistant for men's and women's swimming at the university. And I got to tell you, I absolutely loved my experience. And I realized that this is something that I could be passionate about with college coaching. I really enjoyed it. So I went on to go to a different university. I was an assistant coach there for a year, and then I got a job and was a head coach at a Division II school for another 21 years. And I love college coaching. It was awesome. But college coaching is great for a lot of reasons, but there's also some bureaucracy that goes on in there as well. And so John would ask me, I'd known John for years at Fluid Mechanics, and he would ask me every once in a while if I wanted a job, and I'd be like, "Yeah, not yet." And then I decided 5 years ago that it was the right time, and I really love working at Fluid Mechanics. It helps me bring the passion that I have about teaching to people. I also like to really break things down and help other people find their pathway, to get to where they want to go. And so that's why I really love working for Fluid Mechanics, because I get to do that all the time, and that's great. Okay, so that's kind of my story about how I got to where I am. And the next thing we're going to want to do is really see how your pathway is going to be built. Okay. And so here we go. The next thing we're going to want to do is talk about your pathway to swim in college. Okay. And you want to start on this pathway as early as possible to make this process as easy as it can be for you, because it can be kind of overwhelming. All right. And so what we're going to talk about today is really understanding, knowing yourself very well. And then by using what you know about yourself, understanding what you want to get out of your college experience, and then building a pathway towards how to get that. Okay. Again, I like to break things down into steps because that's me. I'm very logical in my thinking that way. All right. So, this is going to be the first major decision of most people's lives. And there's going to be so many things to consider that it can be extremely overwhelming to think about, eligibility rules and your grades and what exams you have to take, when you have to do that, admissions and recruiting and college coaches and visits, and it all kind of pounds on you. And so sometimes what I find, having spent years and years, 23 years dealing with younger swimmers, I can tell you that it's really easy for people to go, yeah, that's a lot. I'll think about that later. And by pushing off when you start thinking about it, it's not your best idea, because you want to have as much time to prepare as possible. All right. And so I'm going to encourage you, 7th, 8th, 9th grade to start moving this direction. You don't have to do all of it in one day, but I'm asking you right now to start taking control of your process. And understanding that you are the person that's going to be in control of this process. All right. So the first step is really knowing and understanding yourself. Okay. And this seems like a pretty simple exercise. After all, who spends more time with you than you? Especially as a swimmer, you're underwater all the time. You're not talking to anybody else. But you don't spend a lot of time really understanding what your likes and dislikes are sometimes. And so it's going to be important, before looking for schools, you want to figure out who you are so you can know what schools start to fit your profile. All right. And so there's a lot of things, to consider. So I would consider things like location, geographically, where in the country do you want to be? Right. Distance from home. Like sometimes I'll talk to 8th and 9th graders and they'll be like, I'm going to go as far away as possible, other side of the country. And then when that decision starts to get closer and closer, a lot of times they're like, yeah, that seems a little too far. Maybe I want to keep it in the range of a couple hours. So if I do want to go home at some point, I can. So how far away you are is a really important factor to consider. The size of the school, right? I went to an undergraduate school that had about 2,200 people. And, 2,200 people, I knew a lot of people on campus. So I would walk around campus and be like, hey, Joe, hey, Bob, how's it going? I recognized almost everybody by sight. And then I went to a graduate school that had over 10,000 people. I didn't recognize almost anybody, right? So what is it you're looking for in terms of the size? The setting of the school, is it rural or urban, or is it a small community? If you're a person who likes to be go, go, go all the time, and you're going to a school where, the area has more cows than it has people, you might not exactly enjoy that experience. And, you want to make sure that that's going to be a fit for you as well. All right. So what type of area that the school's in is going to be really important. The type of school is also going to be very important. So, do you want to go to a public school or a private school? As a school with big athletics, every Saturday you pack the stadium with 50,000 people watching football. Or, is it a school that, most of the people at the college go to term abroad? What is it like in the atmosphere, and what type of school are you looking at? A very academic school. What is it that you're looking for in terms of the type of school that you want to go to? Then the academic majors that are offered, right? I'm not saying as like a 13 or 14-year-old, 8th or 9th grader that you need to know exactly what you want to be when you grow up right now, but you want to start narrowing those ideas down. And maybe, talking to your parents and talking to your counselors at school, talking to your parents' friends, what kind of jobs they have and why they like them, right? And is that something that you would be interested in? And so you can start narrowing the school down based on the academic majors that they're offering as well. And then what's the athletic atmosphere? If you want to swim in college, you definitely want to know what you're getting into. And I coached in Division II for a really long time, 21 years in Division II. And I can tell you that there were a lot of Division I transfers in the conference that I was in Division II. And the reason for that was a lot of those swimmers did not know what they were getting into for Division I prior to committing to go there. And so it's going to be important to really know what's going to be expected of you once you get there. Just because you might have the times that the coach wants doesn't necessarily mean you have the commitment or the time to commit, if you have a heavy academic load, or, if you've never done strength training ever in your life, and, you go there and all of a sudden you're getting hurt because you're not prepared for it, or, you're doing 5,000 yards a day and they're doing 12,000 yards a day, and whoa, that's a big bump up. You got to know what to expect. All right. And again, just because, you want something or you think you want something, make sure you know what it is coming out on the other side and what's going to be expected of you. That's really important no matter what it is. All right. There's a saying that says, be careful what you wish for because you just might get it. All right. And so you want to make sure that you really understand, what's going to be expected of you once you get there as well. All right. So once you know what makes you happy, you're going to apply the 3 steps to success. Right. And we talked about this a couple weeks ago in a Facebook Live that Tori and I did, actually. And I recommend it if you haven't seen it. It gives you the idea of how to, how every relationship is built and how to be successful in all of them. Right. And there's 3 principles to it. You got to know who's in charge. You got to know what the person in charge expects. And then you need to actually deliver on that. All right. And so that's important to understand those concepts, because we're going to look at the rules of the game next. And the rules of the game are being run by the universities that you decide would be a good fit for you. Okay. And there's some things that, like, important things to consider when you're talking about this, right? Admissions requirements. All right. The admissions department is going to be making the rules as to if you can get into the college or not. Right. And so a lot of times the admissions requirements, they're always posted on the admissions website. But just because they're posted on the admissions website doesn't mean, if you decided, if you were able to meet those requirements, doesn't mean you're automatically going to get in. Some of the very academic schools, 90% of the people who apply probably met the admissions criteria, but they might only be letting in like 9 or 10% of the people who actually apply. Well, they're looking for what else you got, right? And so what else you got might be, you are one of the head coach's top recruits, and they will support your application based on your times. It might be that you are a concert pianist and you're excellent and the music department really wants you, or you're a great writer, or you've won awards for your volunteer work. Whatever it is that sets you apart, you want to make sure that that's the foot that you also put forward. Because again, if only 9 or 10% of the people who apply who are eligible actually get in, you want to make sure that you have that extra something that's going to get you in as well. All right. The next thing you need to do is, if you want to swim on the team, you're going to need to know what the coach's requirements and what the team currently has. All right. Because, let's say you're a great breaststroker, right? And, you have some fast times, but that school already has 4 breaststrokers going your time. You might be pretty fast, but if that's not what the coach and the team need, then it's probably not going to be a great fit for you. But the coach and the team have to need you to be there as well if you're gonna get that coach's support to get into a tougher school. All right. And so, you can do a lot of research. The great thing about swimming is it's not at all subjective. It's not, can I play volleyball better than this person? I don't know. I'm not sure. But I know that a time is a time is a time, right? And so, you can take your times and you can judge them against the people on the team. You really need to do that because, sometimes I'll listen to swimmers and they'll be like, oh, I really want to go to this school. And I'm thinking, okay, have you looked at the times for this school? And do you have enough time to drop and to get your times in that box that they're going to want you to get them into? All right. And so it's going to be really important that you know where you want to go. All right. You got to know your destination to see if you can get there. All right. One thing that's super helpful, once you understand what the time requirements are of the coach, is to start putting your times in our progress calculator. It tells you right off the bat, we recommend dropping 2.5 to 5% per year. Do you have enough time to get your times into the box that's going to be required by that college's coach? All right. Which then brings us to the timeline. So the NCAA has bumped up recruiting in a lot of ways. It used to be, you had to get your time into that, to fit into that box by the end of your junior year. Well, now it's kind of the end of your sophomore year, all right? Because the NCAA sort of moved everything up about a year. And, I've talked to several Division I coaches and I say, I know what the NCAA rules are, but when are you actually talking to swimmers about this? And they're like, you know what, begrudgingly, we are having swimmers on campus for overnight visits their junior year. Honestly, I think most college coaches want to wait till senior year, but they're actually doing it junior year because they know other people are doing it, and that's what they're doing as well. So, recruiting has been moved up. And so whether you want to start thinking about it or not, that's the rules of the game. And if you want to be successful, you got to start playing by those rules. All right. So knowing the timeline required, knowing the timeline of the admissions department of the schools that you're looking at too is going to be very important. You're going to need to know when you need to apply, if it's important, if you go early decision, things like this are going to be very important for the, depending on what schools you're looking at. Okay. Now, once we get to there, we're going to need to make a plan. So we know who we are. We know where we want to go. We know the rules of the game at the universities that we're interested in. The next thing we're going to need is we need a plan. Okay. And, I have actually spent, I spent several months a few years ago putting together what's called the FM College Pipeline, which basically gives you a very systematic step-by-step, because, that's the way that's the way that I think, step at a time, logical way to get from point A to point B. All right. And so, Tori, I'm going to stop sharing here for a second. Oops, it's going the wrong way here. Whoops, going definitely the wrong way. There we go. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to let you share the college pipeline with everybody.
All righty. Sounds good. So here we are. This is the homepage of the college pipeline.
Okay.
First thing you'll see is that the very first presentation that pops up is the one that was previewed just in our presentation. So let me do that. All right, Lisa, what do we got?
Got it. So this is the one we just talked about. This is going to be the first entry, right? And so you can see as Tori scrolls down that, every step along the process, you have things that are going to be required from you academically, from college coaches, also how to do your research, how to get yourself better, and right down the list from 8th grade all the way down to 12th grade is everything in there. So, I asked Tori, we were talking a little bit before, and we'll just show you a couple of places. So Tori, if you can bring up just, you can search here by different, phrases. And the first one we're searching by is NCAA. If you click on that first one right there, the NCAA rules for high school freshmen, it basically shows you what the rules are, and what you can do, what the NCAA is exactly, and then, what the timelines for each division are. All right. It's super helpful so that you can understand exactly where you're fitting in the process and what to do. It tells you things to look out for. It gives you a lot of information to be able to move forward with that. Okay. Another one that we had talked about was, that select one. You're going to want to, in 9th grade, probably select your primary strokes and events, because, college coaches want you to be really strong in something, right? I know as a college coach, I didn't need you to be okay at everything. I knew if I was looking for a flyer, then I wanted a flyer who was doing this time, right? And those are the people that I was going to be seeking out. All right. And so, it's important for you to understand how to choose events, and when to choose events, and when to start making those events really strong, so that, again, you can present the best product to the college coach who's going to be recruiting you down the road. Okay. Again, the sooner you start on this process, the better, because the more time you have to actually get yourself where you need to be. Mm-hmm. All right. And so let's go up to another one. I think we talked about, one of them is register for the NCAA Eligibility Center, right? It tells you exactly, when to do it, right? It's going to tell you, why you have to do it. It's also going to show you, how to take your freshman or all your classes from high school and make sure that they're in alignment for eligibility with the universities that you want to go to. There's also direct links in here that send you right to the NCAA page, that you can go in and take care of all this stuff as well. Again, things to watch out for. In my years of coaching, I can tell you there's certain things that if you don't click the right button, sometimes it doesn't save, and you thought you registered and you really didn't. So I try to like walk you around the potholes of my experience with some of these things as well. All right, and so the college pipeline goes down in a systematic way on the left bar from 8th grade all the way down to 12th grade. Systematically the things that you want to do to make sure that you have the best pathway to get from where you are right now into the school that you ultimately want to go to.
And this is going to give you advice on pretty much everything that you could possibly think of. I mean,
Yep.
recommendation, we have so much in here, standardized testing, all of it. And then at the bottom of all of these pages, the entire college pipeline has a very extensive glossary of terms so that you can see what all of this stuff actually is. And you can get an idea of what else that you could possibly do to supplement what you are doing inside your college pipeline.
You got it. Right. And again, I tried to be as thorough as possible. I spent a lot of time in coaching. And like I said, I know a lot of the pitfalls that people fall into, and I think honestly, early on, one of the biggest pitfalls that people fall into is thinking they have a ton of time to do this stuff. It seems weird to start considering this when you're 12, 13, 14 years old, but you got to start thinking about and going down this road early, because the more time you have to prepare, the more prepared you're going to be. And then the more options you have moving forward.
Definitely. Now, I have a question for you.
Sure.
What happens if you're already in 10th grade or 11th grade and you're starting to think about this?
Then it's time to giddy up, right? So you want to know where you are. The other thing I think a lot of times people get all like annoyed with themselves because they're like, oh my gosh, now I'm going to hurt. You know what? You are where you are. And that's the case no matter what. You can't go back. So using your energy to think about how you shoulda, coulda, woulda done something else is foolish, right? Start where you are and move forward, right? There's still plenty for you to do. If you have the option, I would start earlier than later. But, no matter where you are in this process, that full pipeline is right there. You can see some of the things that you can catch up on and move forward from there. You're just going to have to take some bigger bites to move forward. And that's okay, right? You can do that as well. All right. There are a lot of options for swimming in college. There are tons of schools that you probably never even heard of or never even thought about, and they're all looking for swimmers. And so there's many options for swimming in college. And so, remember, you are in some ways the consumer, and you are also in a lot of ways the person who needs to deliver the product. Ultimately, at the end of the story, once you've applied to schools and you see where you've gotten in, you're the consumer. You get to choose which one you want to go to. But you have to get your academics, and you need to get your test scores, and you need to have your times in the box to fit into the school that you want to go into ultimately. And then you get to decide what you're doing. Okay. And so that college pipeline is super helpful for making the plan. Like, you have to follow through on things, but you don't have to then try to make the plan, from scratch. It's there for you to be able to use. Okay, let's scooch down here one. So takeaways from today in trying to find your pathway is to really know yourself. This is the process you want to start on right now. The longer you put this off, the tougher it is. You start to fall into things. I got really lucky to find something that I was very passionate about. I had a coach standing over my head going, hey, I got a job for you. Fantastic. That doesn't happen to most people, right? I got lucky, but you want to start doing that process for yourself right now. And the sooner you start, the better, right? And so then you also want to take what you know about yourself and then see what colleges fit you. One thing I can tell you is, if you are miserable at the school that you choose, then you're probably not going to do anything really well. And so you want to do research, and really get to know not only the school, where it is, the campus, what people are like on that campus, what the team's like, the atmosphere. Really important. Again, the college pipeline goes through the questions you should ask of coaches and the questions you should ask of swimmers on visits, that are really important information for you to get. Again, this is a big decision for most people. It's probably their biggest first decision. And so you don't want to just fall into it. You want to go in there with intention and get what you want. And that I think is really important, because it's tough to pick a school. It's even tougher to have to transfer and go through the process all over again. Right. So make a good decision at the beginning. Right. That's kind of the best advice I can give you. Make a good decision so you don't have to make another decision as you go through. Right. And then make sure you know how to get what you want. Right. And that's going to be super important. Okay. So Tori, thank you. And I'll let you take it away from here.
All right, so we've been mentioning this a little bit these last couple weeks, but today we really want to highlight the fact that the college pipeline that we've been talking about this entire time is actually one of the pieces of the FM Fast Track. So that is available on our website right now. I did put a link to the page in the description of this video so that you can get there super easily this time. And as always, you can shoot me an email at any time. If you have any questions about anything, you can reach me directly, swim@fluidmechanics.net. But yeah, I would definitely recommend sign up for the FM Fast Track. That is only $129 for a year subscription to all of the tools that are included, and the college pipeline is one of those tools.
Yep. And we also talked about like the progress calculator. You know, it's going to be important. Like once you decide where you want to go, can I get my times realistically? Can I get my times to where they need to be in the number of years that I have? You know, that's going to be really important. How am I going to do it? I'm going to do it through race mapping. You know, I'm going to use time splits to know what my pacing is. Those tools are great to marching you right down the path of getting faster times and to be able to fit into whatever you know program that you're looking to fit into. It's going to be really important. Okay.
So next week's live event, we are going to be talking about the four secrets of strength training for swimmers. So that presentation is going to be John and me. We're going to be revealing some critical aspects of high performance strength training specifically for swimmers. So this program is designed to help the swimmers work out the muscles that they are actually using in the strokes that they are taking in the water. So it's really, really cool.
Awesome. All right. Very good.
Okay, so thank you everybody for joining us. If you have any questions, comments, etc., definitely let us know what you think. Share with your friends, and then we will see you next week, same time, same place. Have a great week.
All right. Thanks.